Gotcha.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my list of the top 10 things you're doing wrong against Safi'Jiiva. Safi'Jiiva is coming out for the PC very soon, and he keeps rotating in on the consoles. There's a lot of people who are for the first time reaching Safi'Jiiva and wanting to unlock his weapons and farm some Dracolite, and these tips are really going to focus you on the most refined ideas that will help you increase your rewards and really not piss your teammates off quite as much. The first thing you're doing wrong is you're thinking of the fight as kind of like a regular monster hunt where you go in, beat up on the monster, and he dies and you win. That's wrong. With Safi'Jiiva, he's a lot more like Roth, where you have a reward level, and the reward level is based on how many parts you've broken before you've killed him. So your job is to break all of his parts before he dies, and if you attack a part that's been broken previously, what you're really doing is you're using up the rest of his health pool before your smarter, more educated teammates have a chance to break his other parts, the ones that have never been broken before. So you need to be really well educated on which parts have been broken and which parts haven't been broken. Mistake number 2 is you are not prioritizing Partbreaker in your build. That's right, every single Safi'Jiiva build should be a Partbreaker build. If you can't fit it into your build, go build the charm. If you can't build the charm, you're not ready to go fight Safi'Jiiva. For all the parts you can break on Safi'Jiiva, you have the forelegs and the hind legs. Some players recommend saving those for the second run because they're so easy to access. You have the tail, which by the way, yes, one player can cut the tail. I feel that the Greatsword does a very good job on the tail. You have the head. When you're ready to break the head, I feel all teammates should focus on the head together. I feel like that's the best way to break it. You have the back. When you mount the monster, be sure to deal damage to the back. You have the wings. The wings can be tricky. Bowguns usually have to deal with the wings, but they can also be accessed when he gets knocked down. And you have the chest. During stage 3, he's going to go into a super critical mode where his chest lights up, all his hit zones are better, and you can attack him in the chest. And if you break the chest, by the way, you'll get a knockdown. Actually, I think you just get a knockdown if you deal enough damage to the chest. It doesn't necessarily have to break. So all those parts can be broken. You need the Partbreaker skill. Mistake number 3 is one we've talked about. You're trying to break a part that was previously broken. You are not just wasting your time, you're actually making it harder for your teammates to have enough health left on the monster to break the parts that need to be broken. Now, the point of this tip is we're going to talk about how to take a look at what parts are left to break. So first of all, if you break, let's say his tail, if you cut his tail in the first run, you don't have to cut his tail in the second run. You've already received the rewards for that. The next thing is, if somebody else in your session cuts his tail off, and your team hasn't, you will receive partial points for that, but you won't receive full points for that. So you can keep that in mind. You know, if you've seen that the other team has already done something and you really feel like you don't have enough time to do it yourself on your team, you can target a different part of his body. The other thing is, and this is a really good tip right here, just like Roth, you can open up your menu and actually see in the menu what needs to be broken. It actually shows you. So I highly recommend learning how to use this. Obviously, it's not complicated at all. You just open your menu up and scroll over to it and learn to figure out which parts of his body need to be prioritized. The fourth thing that you're doing wrong is you're mounting Safi'Jiiva in stage 1 and even in stage 2. You don't want to do that. All right, I'm guilty of it. People I play with are guilty of it. It's easy especially to do it in stage 2 because of all the ledges, right? You want to ledge hop? Don't do it. The reality is, in stage 3, when he goes into super critical mode, you can mount him then and get so much damage on him. A mount during the super critical condition gives you your whole team so much damage. He's tougher in stage 3 too, right? Like, he's just more difficult during that stage. So getting all of your mounts in stage 3 is a much better strategy. And speaking of which, if you're like, well, there's not as many ledges in stage 3, well, you can grab his aggro with the pod and lead him over to a ledge. Additionally, if you were to just wear the glider mantle, you can clutch claw onto the side of the monster, then simply jump off the side of the monster and go into an aerial attack, and this works really well with the great number of weapons. Or you can have a dedicated aerial build with the insect glaive, and just swap to that at the beginning of stage 3. So if your teammates aren't going to do it, you can do it. Similar to problem number 4, the 5th thing you're doing wrong is you're using paralysis, sleep, or KO on Safi'Jiiva in stages 1 and 2. You should not do that. Save sleep, paralysis, and KO for stage 3 during the supercritical condition, right? So he goes supercritical, he gets all glowy, his moves are scarier, and he takes a ton more damage. I've watched speedruns. Speedrunners take advantage of this point in the fight to get all their damage done, and it's the same for me and you. So we have to make sure that when he goes into that state, that's when we're paralyzing him and we're juggling him with crowd controls, including sticky ammo, by the way. Some people like to use sticky ammo for this fight. I don't recommend sticky ammo. I think that actually water ammo on the Aquashot light bowgun is a superior ammo type. But maybe you don't want to use elemental ammo, or maybe you don't have the Aquashot, or maybe you think that you'll be the guy causing all the KOs. Save them. Save them for stage 3. Shoot him at some other part of his body. Avoid shooting him in the head with the KO. Once again, the key to having a very good Safi'Jiiva fight where you break all of his parts comes down to how well you crowd controlled him during his supercritical state. If you did a very good job, the fight will be very easy and your team will get an enormous amount of damage out on him. Number 6 on the list, the next thing you're doing wrong is you're misusing the traps in stage 3. So this one's tricky. It requires a little coordination. Somebody has to know what's going on. Essentially, you have the explosions. These are traps that you can lead Safi'Jiiva over to, and they're really useful because you can use them to target one point of his body. Probably his head is what I would focus on, because I feel like his head's the easiest thing to control, since what you can do is you can aggro him, you can flint shot him and then aggro him. You can aggro him into the explosion and then set it off. Well, here's the key. Make sure that Safi'Jiiva is not already locked into an animation, whether it be a flinch animation, a knockdown animation, maybe he's in the middle of an attack, maybe he's doing his roar or whatever, maybe he's powering up. Make sure you don't waste the explosion during that animation, because the explosions are very good at knocking Safi'Jiiva over. However, if he's in one of those animations or if he's already flinched, it doesn't like stack. It doesn't reset that animation and then cause him to knock over. So you don't want to waste them is the key. If somebody accidentally sets off the explosion too soon or at the wrong time, you're going to waste it. They're really powerful. It's like 3,000 free damage on the map if you use it properly and a knockdown. That's an enormous amount of damage. Good players use the traps appropriately. The 7th thing you're doing wrong, and it's something I was doing wrong as well, is you're poisoning Safi'Jiiva. Safi'Jiiva takes a lot of poison, so when you see him get poisoned, it's actually pretty exciting. And poisoning him is useful for really specific speed runs. I've seen a really interesting speed run with the poison duration up skill being used. However, if you're not a speedrunner, if you're trying to max out your rewards, poison is actually taking from his health pool and not contributing toward a part break. Now, I could be wrong about that. I'm going to leave a little asterisk in this one. I've asked around and everyone has told me that poison does not contribute to part break. I don't think it contributes to part break. It doesn't really make sense why it would, because it's kind of like paralysis and sleep. It just affects the whole body of the monster from what it appears to do. However, if it does contribute to part break, you would still use it. But maybe somebody who is a data miner can confirm this one or not. I do not believe that poison contributes to the part break as of right now based on all the information I've received. So I'm recommending you don't poison the monster. Alternatively, why don't you use Blast? Mistake number 8. You don't heal your teammates after they've been grabbed by Safi'Jiiva, or ever. Okay, so 2 parts to this one. First of all, Safi'Jiiva has a grab. If he picks up your teammate, he's going to fly in the air, he's going to shoot the beam at the ground, you're going to get shot by the beam, your teammate will, he'll be in like a crater and he's about to die from like a tick of fire damage, or fire blight. You can heal him instantly by using a life powder or a dust of life. These are free. This is the part that always gets me. They're free. They're in the chest. There's a little community chest right by the camp. Get in there and grab yourself a free dust of life. You have no excuse for not having this to save your teammates from a grab. You know, if you're too lazy to open the chest, you better be bringing your own like I do. Additionally, you should just generally be healing your teammates. I mean, you have Dust of Life. It's a really powerful team-based... This is a team-based fight, so anytime you use a team-based heal, you're getting 4 times the value of that heal. That's really powerful. And Safi'Jiiva has a lot of wide, fast-hitting moves that are hard to dodge, hard to get away from. So people are just going to take damage as a group. And if you have somebody playing, maybe a little bit of wide range would be nice, or maybe you're just using your Dust of Lives and crafting more as you go, you're going to be a much more effective team. Mistake number 9. You aren't using Demon Powder or wide range in a 20-minute long fight. So Demon Powder, as you guys know, it's a consumable. When you consume it, it gives you a boost to your raw damage. It boosts all your teammates' raw damage as well. This is a 20-minute long fight, and the Demon Powders last for 3 minutes. So in theory, you should be able to use about 7 of them, which means you should be using 3, going back to camp, picking up 3, going back to camp, and picking up probably another 3, okay? It might be a little bit of overlap. That's a long time to have bonus damage, 20 minutes. Additionally, if you did bring wide range, you can eat Mega Demon Drug, and you can eat the Might Seed, which stacks with Demon Powder. Okay, go watch my loadout video. It talks about this kind of stuff. Anyways, eat all those things, and your team will just be doing so much more damage. When you're talking about a 20-minute long fight, boosting your attack damage is so useful because it accumulates over a long period of time. All the bonus damage that you did, it accumulates by the end of the fight. And you're like, wow, we did a whole bunch of extra damage with those very easy to eat consumables. Last but not least, I'm going to make a recommendation on which weapon you should be bringing, and of course, that's going to be the Aquashot Light Bowgun with these upgrades and roughly this build. So the Aquashot Light Bowgun, when you take an examination of all the fastest speedruns, what you notice is that it's being used in all of the fastest speedruns against Safi'Jiiva, and it's not even close. The light bowguns have a far lead, and that's because what they're doing is they're shooting through maybe like the foreleg, and it's going through the back leg, and it's even chipping through the tail. The elemental ammo, it doesn't look like it does a lot of damage per shot, but it really does. And that's because, similar to what I was just saying about the damage accumulating with demon powder and all that, well, the elemental ammo is just like that. You see a little small number pop up, but it pops up very quickly, and over time it does quite a lot of damage. It is such a good weapon for fighting Safi'Jiiva no matter what part you're targeting. His wings, his back, his legs, his tail, his head. Water ammo on the Aquashot is just doing really, really well. Okay, so that's what I'm recommending as the #1 build for farming Safi'Jiiva. If you aren't convinced, go watch some speedrunners fighting Safi'Jiiva and you will get an idea of why it's doing so well, why all the best speedruns are done with the light bowgun. And that's going to be the end of the list. If you appreciated everything I did, please feel free to leave a like or a comment. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.